With Sergio Aguero out of contract in the summer, Man City fans must have expected this to be the season that Gabriel Jesus became the club's first choice striker, but the Brazilian has endured an inconsistent campaign. At this point in the season, 12 City players have been used more often than the 23-year-old, who's played just 51% of the available minutes, and in that time he's scored 4 and assisted 3, with 5 members of the squad boasting superior tallies. As a consequence, City are heavily rumoured to be seeking a striker this summer, as they seek to turn an impressive campaign into a multi-year dynasty. But how do the possible attacking candidates match up to Agüero's amazing output under Pep Guardiola? And what tactical changes could we see the Spaniard make as the team moves on from one of its greatest ever players? We take a look at the numbers to find out. The obvious candidate. When you're one of the richest football clubs in the world, you can afford to shop at the top of the market, and right now that means Erling Haaland. It's hard to believe that the Norwegian was a virtual unknown 18 months ago, but he's now among the deadliest hitmen in Europe, with 2020 bringing him 31 League and Champions League goals in 29 games, shaking out to 1 every 72 minutes, better than Ronaldo, Messi and Lewandowski, and that's despite a mid-season switch of club and the departure of Lucien Favre from Dortmund. Haaland bagged 6 in this year's Champions League group stage, and at the time of writing has 18 goals and assists across 16 league appearances this campaign. And while he's finished at an obscene rate so far, since making the move to Germany, his expected goal numbers have matched Agüero's output since 2016 almost identically, with 0.8 xG per 90 minutes and a further 0.2 expected assists. That's despite taking 3.7 shots a game to the veteran's 4.5 and creating 0.8 chances to Agüero's 1.3. And there are clues to a stylistic difference here. While Agüero was always comfortable dropping deep to participate in City's build-up play, Haaland is more of a traditional penalty box striker, playing only 0.6 passes into the box a game in comparison to Agüero's 1.4, and half Agüero's tally of progressive passes and balls into the final third. When you watch him, you rarely see Haaland moving with the ball, but instead you spot him sneaking into the area or making a support run off the ball on a fast break, looking to get in position for a high-quality shot. So, if they decided to acquire the 20-year-old, City would need to expect less involvement from him outside the box, giving him freedom to drift into space instead. That's not to say that Haaland offers nothing beside poaching ability. His extraordinary pace and strength make him fearsome in one-on-ones, and with about a dribble a game, he's not far off Agüero's 1.3 and boasts the same success rate, 57%. And he'd let Man City diversify their attack. If there's one thing the team misses, it's a battering ram in attack who can compete with the larger centre-backs, and as a result, so far this campaign, only Southampton have played fewer successful crosses into the penalty area. Of course, that's clearly a choice on Pep's part, but giving City yet another offensive weapon with the combination of De Bruyne's delivery and Haaland's aerial presence would be mouth-watering. Given Haaland's profile and age, anything under €150 million would probably represent decent business for City, and the only real questions are whether they can afford the player while dealing with the financial hit of COVID, and whether they can convince him to swap the Westfalenstadion for the Etihad. While Marco Rose will surely make a commitment from Haaland his first priority on arriving in Dortmund, they'll have a tough job if the citizens firm up their interest. Inter's options. Perhaps because of his nationality and physique, Inter Milan's Lautaro Martinez has long been mooted for a switch to the Etihad, but his partner at the San Siro is apparently now on City's hit list too. Romelu Lukaku is one of Europe's most informed forwards this season, currently bagging a goal involvement every 88 minutes in league play, and with 42 goals and assists in 56 appearances since moving to Inter in 2019, newspaper reports suggest that City are willing to look past his time on the red side of Manchester. Still, as a pure number 9, Martinez does seem to make more sense. As we've already seen, Agüero has taken around 4.5 shots per 90 since Pep arrived in Manchester, and over the last 18 months, Martinez is at 4.3, while Lukaku trails significantly on 2.9. However, the Belgian is more disciplined with his shooting, managing 0.7 xG per game to Martinez's 0.6 despite fewer attempts on goal. And Agüero was rarely just a poacher under Guardiola, with his 1.3 key passes a match suggesting Lukaku's passing could give him the edge here, the 27-year-old creating 1.6 chances a game to Lautaro's 1.1, as well as making more passes into the box and the final third. But in Conte's two-striker system, Lukaku has plenty of freedom, and Martinez seems better suited to City's high press. While the former United man makes just 7.7 pressures a game, about the same as Premier League centre-backs like Fabian Schär and Angelo Ogbonna, Martinez closes down opponents about 17 times a game, which would rank second in the City squad. He also offers mobility on the ball, with 1.5 dribbles per 90 outstripping the 1.3 Agüero has managed historically and far ahead of Lukaku's 0.9. More importantly, he'd fit the system. Lukaku's creativity has largely been unlocked by having the freedom to pull wide, and as a left footer, that means he drifts to the right, where he can outpace and outmuscle smaller fullbacks. But at City, all the ball-dominant creators like Foden, Mahrez and De Bruyne prefer that channel too, meaning that Pep has tended to deploy his primary goalscorer on the left flank this season, asking Sterling, Jesus and Ferran Torres to make blindside movements into the box. That would suit Martinez better, and though the youngster is reportedly considering a new deal in Milan, he'd likely still be cheaper than Lukaku, who cost the Nerazzurri €75 million just 2 years ago. Given that he turns 28 before the end of the season and is in the best form of his career, that would make him hugely expensive and a relatively short-term option. If Pep wants to do his shopping in Italy, he's better off picking Lautaro. The wildcard. The downside of all the players listed above is that they'd immediately relegate Gabriel Jesus to the bench, and perhaps lead the Brazilian to reconsider his position in Manchester, hardly an ideal outcome after the time and money City have invested in the striker, and with his contract up in 2023. So rather than alienate the youngster, City could seek a young forward who can compete with Jesus for a starting berth, and in the process keep their powder dry to bring in necessary reinforcements at left back and in midfield. With that in mind, Donyell Malen seems a reasonable shout. Valued at €25 million, under a quarter of Haaland's suggested €110 million price tag, he suffered a knee injury in 2019 but has since returned to top form, bagging an incredible 13 goals and 5 assists in 16 Eredivisie starts in 2020-21 and a further 5 in 6 in the Europa League. At only 22, those figures are impressive even in the Netherlands, and suggest that even if the Dutchman doesn't grow into a superstar, he'd be good enough to feature for City in easier games, and surely represent an upgrade on Liam Delap, who got minutes early in the season, or on playing Torres or Foden out of position. There are no concerns about the raw numbers here. Like Martinez and Agüero, Malen is a shot monster, averaging 3.8 efforts a game in league play and 4.2 in the Europa League, and he's perfectly comfortable dropping deep and creating, with 1 key pass a game this season but 1.7 last campaign, when he played more frequently off the left flank, another characteristic which could see him flourish in a sky blue shirt. Malen also has the best dribble stats of all the forwards we've discussed, with 1.6 take-ons completed per 90 and a 64% success rate, and while that's almost certain to come down in a much tougher division, he is exceptionally fast and would probably still pose problems for the majority of the Prem's defenders. Now playing under Roger Schmidt, Malen is used to a demanding coach who wants his forwards to press high, and would be a low-risk gamble with the potential to pay off in a big way. It may not seem like Man City behaviour, but despite their riches, the club could still afford to learn from Liverpool, who have routinely found underpriced prospects and polished them into world beaters. If City can do the same, they'll take away one of their rivals' greatest edges, and perhaps lock up the league for years to come. So that's our take on who could replace Sergio Aguero at Manchester City, but who would you go for if you were Pep Guardiola? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss a video. See you next time.